So good to be alive. I don't care what you think about me, 'cause I'm living life.
I said I'm moving too far. Get it wrong. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Said I might be big in the game like she winning aunts. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you have swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't shining like it's neon.
What's up, everybody? It is Friday. You know what that means. It is time for another great episode of Birds, Beers, and BS on the All About the Birds Network, powered by Manscaped. Again, use that discount code AATBirds at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Again, manscaped.com, AATBirds for 20% off and free shipping. Yep. We have a great show on tap for all you ladies and gents this evening. Your typical co-host as well, Peenut, myself, Eagle Jeff. A lot to dive into as we are less than a week to the start of the NFL draft. And by this time next week, Peenut, we'll know who will be in a Philadelphia Eagles midnight green uniform. So, of course, we'll have some draft talk. We'll discuss Mel Kiper's latest NFL mock draft. They did a 3-round mock draft, so we'll discuss on who he feels him and Todd McShay, the Eagles, will be selecting come next week. We'll also give our thoughts and our opinions on who we want the Philadelphia Eagles to select at number 12. But first, we're going to have to dive into on this debacle of a franchise that is Nick Sirianni, Jeffrey Lurie, and Howie Roseman, and now Andy Waddle, who's now involved with this whole decision making. Of course, the Eagles had the pre-draft press conference this past week to discuss not so much their draft strategy, but typically every single year, the management will meet with the press right before the draft. They'll have their little round table. It's a little bit different this year because of COVID and last year, so everything's virtual. But typically, we'll sit in this little room with Howie asking questions on the draft and what their plans are, which they never give anything, but
pretty much.
So
a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, the whole bunch of nothing. But the one thing that came out of this past weekend's press conference, it's a little a little weird. just the fact that we had this type of conversation for a pre-draft workout. And if you have not seen it, here's the clip of Nick Sirianni discussing how he evaluates these NFL draft prospects.
And if you guys are wondering, I'll tell you, I think some of you guys are wondering, like, what game? We didn't go earth-shattering on these games, right? And if you guys are wondering, I'll tell you, I think some of you guys are wondering, like, what game? We didn't go earth-shattering on these games, right?
We're having some technological differences.
I don't know what the hell
right now,
happened.
people.
But if you did not see the clip, they did rock, paper, scissors, shoot to evaluate and apparently Jeopardy questions. Yeah. And the question I have for you, Peenut, what is your initial reaction when you hear Nick Sirianni discuss the fact that the way he's interviewing players and dictating and deciding on if he feels they are qualified well enough to play for the Philadelphia Eagles is by playing a kid's game of rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
It makes me wonder if he's qualified to be the coach at this point. Like, that's the stupidest thing I think I've ever heard. Why didn't you just have pissing contests in the parking lot? You know what I mean? It's scary to realize that this guy. Listen, he might be a great coach. He might be a great offensive thinker. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, after I heard that, I literally put my head down and I sighed. It was depressing. What was your initial response to that one?
Hang on one sec. I might be able to actually get us the interview real quick. I'll say why I'm getting this set up real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, this was a comment that I enjoy his enthusiasm. I enjoy what he had to say, but come Fine.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors, man. Maybe this guy's a genius. Maybe he knows something we don't know. It was a douchey thing to do and a douchey thing to say. And you could see Howie looking at him the whole time during that interview, like, don't say rock, paper, scissors. Don't say
something stupid.
And the minute he said it, Howie's like, I'm telling you, sooner they're going to get like a shock collar and put it on him. Every time he says something stupid, Howie's just going to zap him. That was dumb. That was stupid.
Yeah, pretty freaking much. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. And here we go.
And like what game? We didn't go earth shattering on these games, right? I played a couple of them at rock, paper, scissors.
And of course, no freaking audio.
It was as easy as that. Rock,
Welcome
paper,
to the
scissors.
shit
Let's see
show,
how
people.
competitive you are.
Yeah, apparently.
It's all good. They know by now. Everyone already seen it.
Yeah.
It's depressing. It's scary, and this is the state that Philadelphia Eagle football is in now, and this is the offseason.
He sounds like a high school coach.
Yeah.
And from a Philadelphia fan standpoint,
Yeah.
I know he gets a lot of comparison, especially after these press conferences, is that he's now the Gabe Kapler 2.0 in the Philadelphia area.
Ugh.
Gabe Kapler got criticized for his horrible press conferences. Granted, now he's the one that almost swept the Phillies this past week with the San Francisco Giants, but
maybe you play rock, paper, scissors with them at practice.
Maybe so, but look, Sirianni, I don't want to judge him too much based just off his press conference.
It's hard not to, though.
I want to wait and I want to see what they do in the draft first. I want to see what he does on game day, because ultimately he can be the worst guy in the world when it comes to doing these press conferences. Chip Kelly wasn't the greatest guy at press conference.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, for as long as he here, he didn't have that great at press conferences. He really didn't give you much. He wasn't very enthusiastic. At least this dude gives you enthusiasm. He's obviously a great football mind. He has a great passion for football, and he loves the game. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I do get from these press conferences.
I agree.
But
yeah.
The thing that just bothers me is it wouldn't be as bad if this was a team that actually drafted well. If we weren't as abysmal when it came to drafting players, I would not see that much of an issue. But the fact that Howie has a horrible track record over the past decade, at least hitting on the first and second round picks,
right?
Guys that can find immediate impactful players in the step up in their first year.
He hasn't had a horrible record, but it's not
over the last few years. It has been the greatest,
right? I agree.
Rager, I would say he with his injury issues, to be determined.
Right.
JJ Arcega-Whiteside in the second round. So there's a couple players. He gets a bad rap, is what I'm basically saying, because of the recent history in his draft record.
Right.
And then we hear about how they're drafting and how they're managing their football team with these analytics. And now we're judging players based off of how competitive they are with rock, paper, scissors. Yeah. This ain't some backyard football game where you do rock, paper, scissors, shoot to see who gets the football first.
Right.
This is a make or break scenario for these players, for the organization. If Micah Parsons didn't want to play rock, paper, scissors, or for some reason beat him, or didn't care too much about it, are you going to say you're not going to draft him because you don't feel he's going to fit your football team, or he's not competitive enough? Rock, paper, scissors, in my eyes, doesn't compare a player's competitiveness.
No, it doesn't.
In my opinion.
No, and the thing is that they're off the field. Why do they have to be competitive at all times? You know what I'm saying? Like, on the field is one thing. These football players are going to be professionals. So what are we doing? Playing rock, paper, scissors to see what drive they have? That's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life, man. I'm sorry. Yo.
Look, and I get it's the psyche game. The whole interview process, there's the combine, and then there's also the psyche when they do that Wonderlic test and all that. And this is just another little stage when it comes to that. And I'm sure there's other teams that do other stupid little antics like this. Yeah. But the fact that he openly admitted in a press conference to the media when this franchise is already in shambles and has a black eye on this organization because of the management. Yep. It doesn't give Philadelphia fans much hope that we have a head coach like that. And the one thing is, how are the rest of the players going to be able to buy into this type of antics? Yeah, from
especially the older players. You know what I'm saying? They're not the leaders. Shit like that, man. They're going to be like, I'm not playing rock, paper, scissors. I'm reading the playbook, or I'm doing the. You know what I'm saying? I'm making the plays. Listen, I like his drive. I don't even know why. Like, it's weird too. There's nothing happening in news with football, and for some reason, the Philadelphia Eagles always find a way to have like something in the headlines. A lot of negative stuff, but always in the headlines. Nick Sirianni needs a shot collar. I'm telling you. Eventually, Howie's going to have to do that, because I seen him looking at him that whole interview. He was just staring at him like, just don't say rock, paper, scissors. And the minute he said it, he's like, fuck. Like, fuck.
But it brings to my next question for you, and we weren't the only ones that had this reaction. A lot of the fan base did, and he's getting a lot of heat. Some people have a lot of heat on. Some people don't mind it or don't care. Some people love it because it brings a little different perspective to it. So my question for you, Peenut, is: do you feel, as Philadelphia Eagles fans, do you think we're being overcritical when it comes to Nick Sirianni, based off of his press conferences and based on what he's saying, that we're judging him too quickly before we're giving him a chance to actually coach, that we're automatically jumping off the bridge and say we're doomed and that we're going to have a bad coach here in the future?
All right, I'm not going to speak for every fan. I'm a fan myself, so I'll speak for myself, and I'll say, yeah. I mean, sometimes, like, I'm a little overcritical of him, but I think I have a right to be overcritical. I'm the one that buys the jerseys. I'm the one that buys the hats. I'm the one that goes to the games. We want this team to be good. And I think sometimes when you feel like you're being ignored by the person that you know what I'm saying? Like, look, Howie and Jeff have a plan, which is fine. But us as fans, I think we feel like, look, we are a part of this team. Like, we're not on the field. We're not playing rock, paper, scissors with the coach or anything, but we feel connected to this team. And when we feel like this team is kind of brushing us off, but then again, I am overcritical of, he hasn't even called a play yet. Like, we haven't seen him in action. We haven't seen anything. The guy could show up with different color socks, and that's what we'll be talking about. You know what I'm saying? So me speaking for myself as a fan, and I'm a little overcritical of him. Yeah, I am.
Look, this is the city of Philadelphia. We are considered one of the more passionate fan bases in all the NFL, if not all of sports in general.
I'm sitting right next to the worst fan in the world. This guy.
And it doesn't help that we don't have that. The management has become a laughing stock this offseason and in past years. Yeah. That we don't have faith in management to make the right decisions, whether it's the draft, whether it's game day, whether it's the players that they're assembling for a roster. We do not have faith in them to make the right decisions. So as fans, we have every right to be critical. We have every right to dissect and to come to an opinion whether we feel this team is doomed or destined for greatness.
But you don't think you're being a little overcritical? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think I'm being overcritical. I think I'm being. Look, I'm one of the more impartial fans when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. I can tell you when they suck. Right. I can tell you when they're good. I can tell you what they're doing good. I'll tell you what they're doing bad. Right. I do not sugarcoat it, and I don't wear these red rose color glasses.
He has no glasses.
I don't wear the glasses that basically I don't see what they do wrong, and I know what this organization has done in the past. Right. So it keeps you a little bit on ease that they are not going to make the right decision. And I agree with you. I feel some of the fan base is being a little unfair to Sirianni because he hasn't even coached the game yet.
He just sounds like a douche. I think that's the biggest problem. Like, when he starts talking, it's like he's the douchiest coach I heard.
He sounds like a douche, and he looks like a douche. Sorry, not in that way, but the way he talks, and I'm one of those same people. I talk with my hands. If you watch these press conferences, he is very enthusiastic about it, which is great for a head coach. Hopefully he can build that and deliver it to the players when they need a pep talk. But I feel we're not so much critical of I don't feel we're being overcritical of Sirianni. I feel we're being overcritical of Sirianni, but I feel we're not being as critical to the organization. And I feel we have every right to be critical of the organization just because of the factors that have happened the past few seasons with them not drafting well. We were a 4-11-1 football team.
We won a Super Bowl.
We moved. That was 4 fucking years ago.
Super Bowl. So
4
what?
years
Still
ago.
won a Super Bowl.
I don't care.
With that same office, man.
It doesn't matter.
Cut him some slack.
They caught lightning in a bottle, dude. Carson Wentz had a career season. They hit on every free agent that year. Yeah, take that away and take last year away. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, since that span, since they moved on from Andy Reid, they have been mediocre at best. Okay. Yes, they have made the playoffs, but what does that do for you? The ultimate goal is winning a Super Bowl, which we did. We only want, I'm saying taking that away and taking your best season and your worst season.
How do you take the Super Bowl away? That's the ultimate goal. You can't just take the Super Bowl away. No, you can't do that. I'm saying that same office still won us a Super Bowl
because they got lucky. Everyone that's an Eagles fan will take it, but any Eagles fan that knows what happened and sees the way this front office is ran, they got lucky. But the one thing I did love about Nick Sirianni is not just his enthusiasm, but the way that he evaluates his players. And Sirianni was asked this past week at the press conference on how or what players or what characteristics do a player bring to him for him to fit his team.
Talent is the most important thing, right? We got to have talented players because those are the guys that go out and they make plays in the games on the line. They make the plays in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, right? So talent. So it is looking at the different skill sets of guys. But like Howie said, every player comes in different shapes, different sizes, different speeds, right? They're all different. It's about finding like, okay, this guy has speed. We'll use him this way. This guy has power. We'll use him this way. This guy has that, right? So, and it's explaining that to the scouts. And just, again, it's the same thing. Hey, Jalen Reagor, we want you to run this route this way. Let me show you. Here you go, right? Hey, Andy. Hey, Howie. Here's how we would use this specific skill set, whether that's running back, tight end, wide receiver, quarterback, offensive line, any position on defense, right? But I think, so again, talent, right? But talent looks different every way. But I think the things that are pretty common for good players that we've been around is it does take something that they have inside, right? It takes something that they have inside. And so one thing that we did as a coaching staff and as the scouts, when we were interviewing these players, we tried to figure out, is this guy love football, right? Is this guy competitive? Is this guy tough? Does this guy have high football IQ? We were trying to answer those questions on every one because when you're competitive, when you're tough, when you have high football IQ, and when you love football, you're gonna take your skill talent, you're gonna take your talent, everything that God blessed you with talent-wise, and you're gonna maximize that. That's what we've seen. That's what we've seen, like with all the players that we've coached, like. Sometimes those guys aren't the most talented, but they maximize it and they pass guys' talent level. So, yes, we're looking for certain skill sets and we're trying to explain when we're looking for these skill sets, how we would use them, and then what's inside of that player. What does he have in here, right? That's huge. That's huge because that player is, again, I know I said it 3 times. I'm going to say it 4 times. That player is going to maximize his skill.
I apologize for the long clip, but it just shows to me, yes, Sirianni might look like a doofus sometimes with some of his comments, but the passion is there. You know that this guy loves the game of football. You know that he knows football.
Agreed.
And I kind of hope that Howie does not push Sirianni to the side like he apparently has done in the past with our coaching staff on their input on the draft because he brings up a lot of good points.
He's right. They just need to put a muzzle on that guy. Like, just shut up, man. Don't even
Sirianni?
Yeah, Sirianni is the worst public speaker I've ever heard. He's probably a great coach, but what I'm saying is he gets into these things where he starts talking in circles, and it's like, if I said it 3 times and now I said it 4, like just go coach. And we should be asking Howie all these questions because Howie is ultimately the person that's running the show.
He's running the show. But I still feel as the GM, and that's the one thing that that the Eagles organization has been criticized so much over the last couple of years, is that the GM and the head coach are not on the same page. And until they are, we are not turning the ship around. We are not going to start winning football games until these two are working together to try to build this team ultimately to a Super Bowl championship.
I think that's why they got Sirianni in the first place. Like, Sirianni's one of those guys where he'd be like, all right, give me the guy. I'll make a play. I'll fit this guy into my offense. And I will make this work. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the one thing that Sirianni has continued to address and say in his press conferences, that he's not going to scheme. He's not going to get players for a scheme. Right. He's going to scheme for the player's strengths, which I feel that NFL coaches need to do. And it's been brought plenty times before that if you just run a same system every single week, or the same plays or the same type of playbook, teams, that's on tape. Teams are going to pick that apart. And that was the one thing towards the end of Doug's tenure here, is that they became way too predictable, especially offensively. That the opposing defenses knew what the Eagles were going to run. They knew their scheme. They knew their design. They knew some signals that the Eagles were running, and that they were able to call it out. You know how many times after post games that opposing teams' defenses has said we knew what was going to happen?
That's depressing.
And that's the one thing I feel.
Oh my God.
That I'm hoping Sirianni does better, at least from what we have seen in Indianapolis. That he was able to find success with Phillip Rivers. He was able to find success in the ground game. He didn't just stick to one offensive philosophy when it came to their offense for the most part. Ultimately, Frank Reich, as the head coach, was the guy that
got all the credit.
That got the credit, had the final say. So we'll see what Sirianni can do here. But it's going to be interesting what they're able to do, and especially with a young quarterback with Jalen Hurts. As, again, it was this past week during the press conference, they did not solidify and name Jalen Hurts the starter. And this is what Howie Roseman had to say during the press conference when asked about if Jalen Hurts is the starter for 2021.
I mean, to name any starters at this particular time, we've been working with these guys for 2 days, right? We've been working with these guys for 2 days. My biggest thing is competition. Again, we've talked a little bit about my core values. It's my second core value. It's this team's second core value. Competition's a huge thing, and we're going to have competition at every position.
Sorry, that was Nick Sirianni on the confirmation whether Jalen Hurts is the starter or not. And once again, he brings up the word competition.
Yeah.
And the big outright and upsetting thing is right now is, do you feel that the Eagles, do you think it's a mistake for them not naming Jalen Hurts the starter? Or really, what harm does it really do for you? What's the big deal if you don't, or if you do name Jalen Hurts the starter? I understand they want to say competition, but let's be real. Not every position is going to be up for grabs when it comes to competition. In training camp and in practice. The fact that, look, Lane Johnson, if he's healthy, he's your starter. Okay. Jason Kelce, he's your starter.
Facts.
Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, unless they're injured,
but they're proven
your
veterans,
starters.
Though. These are proven veterans. You're judging apples and oranges.
No, I'm really not, because Sirianni ultimately says every position is up for grabs. If that's the case, then those positions should be up for grabs too, but they're not. They are your starters.
I got you.
And ultimately, the Eagles organization knows, the fan base knows, hell, a freaking 5-year-old knows. Jalen Hurts is your starting quarterback for 2021. No way in hell, in my opinion, unless Jalen Hurts ultimately just flames out.
I don't see that happening.
Joe Flacco is your backup quarterback, and Jalen Hurts is your starter. Joe Flacco is not beating out Jalen Hurts. And I understand people are saying, well, they might be looking to draft a quarterback. They might be looking to trade for Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson. They aren't drafting a quarterback. Get it through your thick skull. If they were going to draft a quarterback,
they
would have stayed at 6.
They're going to draft the quarterback now, Jeffrey.
There's not going to be anyone there. There's not going to be anyone there at 12.
We'll find like a third-round pick or like a third-round projection is going to be picked.
Third round. I expect them to draft.
I know.
I expect them to draft a quarterback, but it's going to be in the later rounds, between 4 and 7. It's going to be a guy that's going to sit on the bench, a depth piece, and a guy that's going to learn the game and hold a clipboard for the next couple seasons. And because remember, we're the quarterback factory.
We used to be. Now we're we're depleted. I don't have a problem with him not naming Jalen.
Name him the starter.
I don't have a problem with that.
Everyone keeps on saying, "Well, it'll kill his drive. He won't work as hard."
I think it's gonna push Hurts even further. Like, look, Hurts has been fighting his whole life as a football player. This ain't nothing to Hurts. You watch, man. Mark my word, man. Hurts is gonna win that competition, and I won't say elite because a lot of people will say elite too soon.
He's not gonna be elite quarterback.
I really do feel like this
season.
kid's not next season, but eventually I think this kid can grow into something real special, man. I really do. And I think the competition thing, that drive, I think that's what guys like that need that, and he'll win it.
I feel Hurts has the potential to be a decent quarterback in this league, but he's not going to be a Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be a Tom Brady.
Why not?
He's not going to be an Aaron Rodgers. Just look at his skill set.
His skill set. All right.
Watch him in college. Watch him last season.
I watched highlights, except
highlights only show the best of a player.
What I'm saying is, like, when you watch the highlights, the best of the player is what you want to see. We already seen the worst of him, right?
But they're showing the best of the player, mostly usually against crappy competition.
Okay.
Look, this is a guy that barely completed 60% of his not even 60% of his passes last year.
Right.
He had almost as many. I don't care if it's a rookie or not.
Rookie season.
I don't care if it was a rookie season.
How did Carson Wentz do? The guy that was
he played like shit.
Right. Potentially an MVP player.
And there's a reason why he's not on his football team anymore.
Because he doesn't want to be on the team.
But you saw what Carson Wentz could do. You saw him in this league, the way he was able to make the adjustments and transition from college to the NFL. You saw that he was an MVP caliber player. Jalen Hurts, I do not believe, is an MVP caliber player. Can he be a decent player for you? Yes, and I'm hoping Sirianni can fill those holes and overshadow those weaknesses.
Okay.
With players around him. Until they get decent playmakers around him,
all right.
I can't really judge Jalen Hurts.
I agree with that.
But based off what we saw, at least when he started last season, he really wasn't anything too special.
He listen, great quarterbacks make the team around them better. And I think the one thing I pulled for, now you're right in what you're saying, but what I seen from Hurts last year was that the team responded in a positive manner. So he made everyone around him that much better. So that's a plus, man. And that's a sign of a winner. I'm on Team Hurts, man. I really am. I really think the kid's going to be a pretty good quarterback.
Look, I hope I'm wrong.
You are.
I hope he pans out to be a stud next season and shuts me up and I can eat crow. But
I agree.
I ultimately wish that, because we have potentially 3 first-round picks that we don't have to worry about drafting a quarterback with, that we continue to build this team and use those picks to our advantage to get him more playmakers, to build this defense, look for the future around the offensive line.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for the Eagles fan base sake and the organization that he does become a quality quarterback and is a stud in this league. But just watching his tape last season, I'm not too hopeful.
He was young, man. It was his first year.
He's young, but
he was thrown into the fire. He wasn't expected to do much anyway.
But he's thrown in the fire. I agree with that. But this next year's a make or break for him.
I agree.
With at least the Eagles organization.
I agree.
Because we will need to know heading into the 2022 draft whether he's our franchise quarterback or not, because otherwise he's out the door and we are drafting a quarterback with one of those first round selections.
Well, he won't be out the door. He'll be just second string.
No, they'll trade him.
You think so?
Yes. There'll be some quarterback needy team that feels that they are able to
overpay.
No, well, they'll trade for him, but he'll still be on a rookie deal. He'll have 2 years left on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
They'll get him on the cheap, give up some draft compensation, and they'll be able to, hopefully, a team will find a way or feel that they have a chance to turn him around and they can work with him and groom him to be a franchise quarterback for their franchise.
I heard he's been practicing rock, paper, scissors, too. So who knows? This competition level is here.
But I'll say we are less than a week away to the NFL draft, and Philadelphia fans are hoping that they get him some type of playmakers. And in this, the final edition of Mel Kiper and Todd McShay's NFL mock draft, here are the Eagles selections they have for them, and they did 3 rounds. They didn't do all 7.
Thank God.
But in the 3 rounds that they have selected for the Philadelphia Eagles, they have them picking. Number 12, they have them drafting a wide receiver. Maybe not the one that a lot of fans want.
I like Jalen Waddle.
But Let me fucking get to the pick. Let me announce it before you fucking just say it.
Yo, it's too close to my eyes. I read it.
But yes, they do have the Philadelphia Eagles at number 12, second wide receiver from Alabama, and Jalen Waddle. And this is their explanation. Saying Philly can exhale. The Eagles moved back from number 12 and still got one of the top 4 pass catchers. Waddle is the most dangerous player in the class with the balls in his hands. I agree with that. Look, I would be okay with either Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. I prefer Devontae Smith over Waddle, though, just for the fact that we know what Devontae Smith can do. He's been able to play at a top level in the best conference in all college football in a championship game.
True.
And
the kid's got a chip on his shoulder, too.
And I feel Jalen Waddle is a little bit of a too much of a not one-trick pony, but I feel that just because of his speed, that he is people are not overvaluing him, but they feel he's on the same level of Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith.
Okay, this team is going to be built on speed. Isn't that what we're doing?
But we tried doing that already. We drafted Quez Watkins, or we drafted Jalen Reagor. We brought in Hightower.
There's no point in having speed if you can't protect the quarterback long enough for those guys to get open.
I agree with that, but the thing is, we have speed already. We tried building at the wide receiver position with speed, and look how much it has panned out. We need a different type of receiver. We need that
possession receiver.
I'll say Devontae Smith ain't so much of a possession receiver.
Right.
He's an impactful player, and I feel Jalen Waddle, he has a potential to be an impactful player, but I don't.
He's more of a home run hitter.
A little bit.
I got you. Okay.
And so that was their first round selection. Now in the second round, they draft at number 37. Mel Kiper has him taking linebacker out of Missouri, Nick Bolton, saying this is a great fit for the Eagles, who need a sideline to sideline middle linebacker and new coordinator in John Gannon's defense. Bolton is a tackling machine.
Okay.
Look, I would be thrilled with that.
I don't know Bolton. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Look,
I don't know.
I don't know him that well either, but the fact that
I'm gonna look up his highlights.
if the Eagles address the linebacking position that highly, I'm okay with that, because right now we really don't have much at the linebacking position. We have Alex Singleton, who has shown to be a liability in coverage for the most part.
Singleton's middle linebacker? Or is he outside linebacker?
They move him around. I'll say
he's better fit for the outside.
He's better fit for the outside, and TJ Edwards they have on the inside inside. So maybe they move TJ the outside. And remember, they moved Jannard Avery, the linebacker, as well. So we don't know how that's going to pan out. Yeah. And then in the third round, they had 2 selections. They at number 70, the latest mock draft has him selecting. I'm going to butcher this name. Quarterback out of Syracuse, Efetu Melifanu. Melifanu needs some refining, but he has a lot of upside as a press corner. The Eagles are lacking depth at the position beyond Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox, who could be a free agent in 2022. I don't know the guy.
Whatever that is, I think you did pretty good. You did better than I would have did with that name. That name is hard.
And then at number 84, he has the Eagles going defense again with Syracuse safety Andre Cisco, saying that Cisco is a ball hawk on the back end, hauling in 13 interceptions over 24 career games. The Eagles are one of 4 teams in the single digits in that category last season.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Look, I would be thrilled with that draft.
Yeah,
I'm not so much because I don't know the players towards the end of the second and third round. I haven't really followed the draft too closely,
right?
But in my opinion, with those selections, the Eagles
address a lot of issues that they have.
They're addressing a lot of needs, and it sounds like they're getting a decent players that can step in day one. Minus the cornerback, which right now, if they do go a rookie cornerback that hire that guy, he can compete for a starting job and not sit on the bench. It's all about
competition, man.
Yeah, exactly. But
you better play rock, paper, scissors in that locker room, bro. Otherwise, they're not looking at you, man.
But they get if that's the case, they get the playmaker.
I agree.
They get they address the defensive side of football, which they have been lacking early on in the draft the last couple of seasons for the most part.
Yep.
And it sounds like they're getting guys that can make an impact for this defense and for this football team coming into the season.
We still had players last year that I still feel can make that impact, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if anything in the third round, those guys. The thing I love about the thing I do love about Nick is if it's all competition, then these guys will have an opportunity. I feel like the prior regime was more or less loyal to their veterans, and which is good. Be loyal to your veterans if they're producing, but at some point you got to have these young guys. You got to let them ball out, man. So I agree. I like that draft. That's not bad. I like Waddle. I seen highlights.
Is all you do is watch freaking YouTube and watch highlights?
What else am I supposed to do, man? When I'm pooping, I watch highlights. That's what I do.
I didn't want to go that far and throw you under the bus for that, but okay.
Beer birds and I take shits and watch fucking highlights. That's what I do.
Apparently so. But as we're getting towards the end of here on Birds, Beers, and BS, again, thank you to everyone that's tuned into the program. We are powered by Manscaped. Make sure you also follow, like, and subscribe all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yes,
and, of course, our YouTube channel on All About the Birds. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment. Tell us what you think of the show. Tell us your comments. Tell us what you think of what the Eagles are going to do in next week's NFL draft. And then we'll see what we do with next week's show. But, Peenut, this is our final show before the first round of the NFL draft, since the NFL draft is next Thursday at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know from you, who are the Philadelphia Eagles selecting with the 12th overall pick in the NFL draft? Do they stay there? Do they move up? What do you feel? What is your prediction that the Eagles do with their first round selection?
All right, based off of the way Howie acted during that what was it, press conference,
if you want to call it that,
I'm thinking he's trading out. I feel like for some reason, like in his mind, it's I want Waddle. I honestly want Waddle. I really do, but I don't see them. I have a weird feeling like he's going to try to outsmart this thing, and I feel like he's going to trade out. I don't think he's going to really try to give Hurts the weapons that he needs. I think he's trying to build up capital at this point. So I think he's trying to bank number ones and number twos for next year, and then Jalen Hurts in his mind is just a stopgap. And I'm hoping that's not what happens, but I'm thinking that's what's going to happen.
Well, if that's the case, who do you think they're selecting? Or do you not really have a name in mind?
I don't have a name. Well, if they stick with 12, they're probably going to go Waddle. If Parsons is available, I hope to God they would, because that would be my choice. If you have a stud linebacker in the middle, your defense isn't that great to begin with. So if you're going to go middle linebacker, Micah Parsons, that would be my pick if I was in charge. If that's the perfect scenario. But I really do feel like that he has this weird plan. He's going to trade out of it or something.
I don't see it happening. They have a chance to trade up, trade down. Anything's possible with the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman when it comes to the draft and what they do with their draft picks. The Eagles are one of the more active football franchises during the draft when it comes to moving around. And I agree with you. It seems like they're trying to gain capital next year, but they already have 3 first-round picks next year, most likely, and they have 11 picks this season. I don't see them making them.
They're not going to take 11 picks.
No, they're not going to take them all. I do see them either trading up in some of these rounds or moving capital for next season. But I feel just the way that this draft is going to pan out, you're going to have a run at quarterbacks early on. We all know that. Really, at 4, it's going to be interesting on what happens.
Yeah.
Do the Atlanta Falcons take a quarterback to replace Matt Ryan down the road, or do they get him another playmaker and worry about the quarterback position later on? Of course, going to have probably a run at wide receivers when it comes to the Miami Dolphins and Detroit Lions if they stay there.
Yeah.
If the Detroit Lions trade down, who knows what's going to happen? They might be targeting defense. Of course, you have your 2 division rivals ahead of you.
That hurts.
With the Cowboys and the Giants. So anything is possible because both those teams both have needs that are similar to yours. So they need playmakers. They need defense.
Yep.
So, not so much the Giants with playmakers. They've got Kenny Galladay, but the Cowboys, they're all. Jerry loves offense. He's always looking to improve. But I ideally at 12, if they stay at 12, I want them to get Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith, if he's available.
If he's there.
Yeah, okay.
Now, if it's Devontae and Patrick Surtain, it's a coin flip for me.
Okay.
But I feel with for how deep the defense or the cornerback position is this draft, I feel it's better off that they go with the wide receiver because after the top 3, top 4, after Pitts, Chase, Smith, and Waddle, you can find some decent wide receivers, but in my opinion, they're not impactful playmakers and difference makers.
Okay.
Like of course, there's gonna be everyone wants to throw Bateman, and there's a couple other guys probably in late first, early second round. But Devontae Smith, man, he's
a beast.
He is unremarkable play guy that you give Jalen Hurts another option for. So ideally, I want the wide receiver in first round. I want the playmaker, and then towards the rest of the draft, address the defense.
Yeah, go defense. I agree. That's actually it.
You can get some decent linebackers in the second round, as we see in some of these mock drafts. Draft the cornerback position. Get another defensive end. Get a pass rusher, and then towards the later rounds, address the offensive line and look towards the future, which is something that Howie has done pretty well over his tenure, is finding those late round offensive linemen that can step in and be contributing players for your franchise.
Yeah, because he'll draft someone from like Japan or something in the 7th round. That would be a great scenario, man. I like that scenario. How would you feel if he went linebacker first round? Like, would it shut you up about Howie drafting if he? All right, say Parsons is available at 12, and he takes Parsons.
It won't shut me up because he still has to go out there and perform. They can draft all they want, and I would be extremely surprised, and I would love it if they get Micah Parsons. Like I've been saying constantly all offseason, this team needs a linebacker.
Agreed.
And just for the fact, look at I keep on bringing it up. Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, Tom Brady was the leader of that offense and helped contribute, but that defense was stout, especially in the playoffs.
Yep.
And it was led by their 2 linebackers they drafted in the first and second round.
Yep.
Devin White and Levante David.
Yeah, that defense is crazy, man.
It just shows
you need a quarterback on the defensive side of the field.
You do. And I feel Micah Parsons, wherever he goes, he's gonna be that player for that team's defense. I understand people feel he has off the field issues. Okay. Plenty of players. He may have some character problems, but
we have character problems.
But as long as he can contribute and is not a distraction in the locker room, I don't care. And
he be playing rock, paper, scissors all the times. I'm telling you, this coach is going to hone in on these players, and they're going to be playing rock, paper. There's going to be a Monopoly board while they're watching the film, and they're just going to be going at it. Competition.
But Peenut, any final thoughts before we get out here on another episode of Birds, Beers, and BS?
You know what? Last week we didn't get a chance to touch on it. We were talking about the passing of DMX and whatnot. What does Jeffrey listen to while he's working out?
No one cares.
What music? I care. I want to know. When you put your headset on, what songs do you listen to get you moving?
Wrestling theme songs.
Oh, no. This is better than I thought. Which wrestling theme songs?
There's a bunch of them.
So what do you have, like wrestling theme songs on like basically?
On my MP3 player.
Well, what songs? Like, you got to listen to some songs besides wrestling theme songs.
That I'm a little bit all over the place. I like a little sticks, a little country, a little rock,
all right,
a little rap. I'm a little bit of everything. I don't have a specific genre that I listen to.
So you listen to like I Wanna Be American.
You completely botched that.
How does it go?
I Am a Real American.
That's it. Well, see, you would know because you listen to it all the time.
Listen to that. Listen to Goldberg's theme song. Nice. My current 2 favorites that gets me pumped up is Jericho has his own band, Fozzy.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
And his current theme song on AEW is Judas.
Okay, so Chris Jericho, you owe us $5 for that plug.
Cody Rhodes' current, or not current, but his original AEW theme song.
Okay.
So there's a couple in there.
Look, I put you into the life of Jeffrey right there. Like now I'm guys a nerd. Understand.
I'm very well rounded. I love football. I love nerdy stuff. I love wrestling. I love comics. So the more you find out about me, I'm very well rounded and like a little bit of everything.
And now you know.
Well, is this gonna be a new segment?
Get to know Jeff.
Yeah, get to know Eagle Jeff.
Eagle Jeff. We're DJ Spazzy Jeff is the new name, son. Other than that, I'm good. I'm good for there's nothing happening until Thursday, man. Thursdays, trust me, there's gonna be an explosion of F-bombs, people calling in, shows cursing. It's gonna be wonderful.
But once again, thank you everyone for tuning in to another episode of Birds, Beers, and BS here on the All About the Birds Network, powered by our sponsors, Manscaped. Again, use that
shave your balls.
Use that discount code AATBirds at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Again, thank you also to our other sponsors, 99 Jerseys. Again, use our code AATBirds for 20% off there at 99jersey.com. And we would like to thank also our sponsor, Hemp Bombs, AAT Birds, for 20% off there. Again, hempbombs.com. So appreciate to all our sponsors there, and appreciate you for everyone for tuning in. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, tell us what you think of the program. Yeah. We are here every single week here on the All About the Birds Network, exclusively on our YouTube channel for the time being. Again, next week we'll be tuning in, dissecting and discussing the Eagles' first round selection. We'll figure out how we pan it out. We might go live. We might not, since next Friday we typically record the shows. Right. Is the second and third round. So we'll figure it out, decide what we're going to do. If not,
why don't we let them, if you guys want us to go live on Friday, let us know. And if they don't, then we just...
I'm saying we go live on our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter accounts. So if you make sure to follow all those platforms, AAT Birds, if for all our programming as well, not just Birds, Beers, and BS, but we also have Chips and Dish. Yep. Tuesdays, Fairways to Heaven. Wednesday, the weekly report, the flagship show of All About the Birds. And, of course, Saturday for the next couple weeks, we do have NFL Draft Talk with Tommy and John Barnett. Tomorrow, community mock draft with a couple of our writers from AATBirds.com, as well as some other guests on Johnny's show. So make sure to check it out, and also follow or view all our other shows. If you missed the show, check it out.
It is.
But again, same place, same channel next week. We'll be back here on Birds, Beers, and BS from myself, Eagle Jeff, and Peenut. Thank you for tuning in. Drink 'em if you got 'em.